So we'll begin the revision of Unit 1. In Unit 1, Organization and Organisms. So the first lesson is for Week 1, Organization and Organisms. So we'll have a quick review of everything because we have hardly 2 classes in this week. So firstly, beginning with this, we have discussed about the cell. Cell is called as a fundamental and basic unit of life. So when a group of cells are togetherly constitute together, they form tissues. So tissues combine together, they form, as you all know that tissues combine together to form organs, and organs combine together to form organ systems. So this, as you see in this flow chart, you can see, so this hierarchy in the organization of an organism is already been
Slide.
sorry.
Ma'am, I can't see the screen, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I haven't shared the screen, ma. So as we all know that cells have specific function. Depending on the functions, there are different shapes of cells inside our body. So a cell plays a major role as it is the fundamental and basic unit of life. So in this hierarchy, we have already discussed about this hierarchy of organization of this cell in an organism. So as we have discussed, what is the biggest cell?
Ostrich egg, ma'am.
Ostrich.
Yes.
Yeah, ostrich.
And what is the biggest cell inside the human body?
Narrow cell, ma'am.
Nerve cell, ma'am.
Yes.
That's the longest.
Yes. And what is the smallest cell?
Microorganism.
Mycoplasma gallis.
No, ma'am. Bacterial cell. No,
Yes,
ma'am.
it is a bacterium.
Bacteria.
Mycoplasma is a bacterium. It's an
Okay.
infectious bacterium that infects chickens.
So we have to mention the specific name.
Yeah, because it's a bacterium. Mycoplasma gallisepticum, it's an infectious bacterium. It's the very smallest bacteria. So now coming to cell and its structure. Just like the organs, in your body you have different types of organs. In the same way, the cell is also having different types of organs, which are specifically called as organelles. They are called as organelles. Just like you call organs which are there inside your body. What are the organs which are present in your body?
Heart.
What are the
kidneys,
organs?
liver.
Can you name them? What are the different types of organs inside your body? You can find, just name them. Organs.
Heart, liver,
Red
kidneys.
blood cells, smooth muscle cells.
I'm talking about the organ, major organs, major organs.
What about the heart, kidneys,
Heart,
and liver,
lungs.
the large
Yes.
intestine, small intestine?
Yes, good. Heart, brain, lungs, kidney. So these are the major organs which are present inside your body. So they have a specific function, isn't it? If one of them fails to work properly, then your health will be in danger. So in the same way, a cell is also having so many organelles. They are called as organelles. So these organelles are being arranged inside the cell. So inside the cell, there is a liquid material, fluid, which is called as, what is that fluid called?
Plasma membrane.
Don't know, ma'am.
What is that liquid called?
Ma'am, is it plasma membrane?
No, the outer covering, the cell, the covering of the cell is called as plasma
Cell wall, ma'am.
membrane. Inside that plasma membrane, all the organelles are being dispersed inside the cell in a liquid jelly-like fluid. That jelly-like fluid is called as
Organelles.
Nucleus, ma'am.
Cytoplasm.
Organelles.
cytoplasm. Yes, good. It's
Miss,
called
but
as
I said
cytoplasm.
cytoplasm.
Yes,
Oh.
it's cytoplasm. Cytoplasm is a jelly-like fluid in which all the organelles are being arranged. So to protect all these organelles of the cell is being covered with outer covering called as plasma membrane. Plasma membrane, other name is cell membrane. It can also be called as plasma membrane or cell membrane. So the different organelles are being listed out here in the page number 3. If you have opened your course books to check it out, just read out the names of the organelles.
Cell,
Cell wall,
plasma
nucleus,
membrane,
mitochondria, plastids,
Yes,
endoplasmic reticulum.
endoplasmic reticulum,
yes, reticulum.
ribosomes, Golgi bodies.
Yes,
Centrosomes,
centrosomes,
vacuoles.
vacuoles. Okay, good.
Yeah.
So these are all the organelles which are present inside the cell. So we'll be having a quick review of all these cells also. What are the different functions of these organelles? So I'll come to prokaryotic and eukaryotic cells later. But firstly, I just want to explain about the detail of all these organelles. Is it fine to you all?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
So firstly, I just want to begin with the cell wall or the plasma membrane or the cell membrane. So where is the cell wall present? Why it is not present in the animal cell? Why cell wall is absent in animal cell?
Because
There is a big difference.
Because when
The difference between plant cell and animal cell is animal cell lack cell wall. Cell wall is the outermost covering of the cell. Plant cell have cell wall. Cell wall is made up of cellulose. It's a very tough layer and rigid. It provides rigidity to plant cells. Okay, but it is absent in the animal cell. Why? Because the animal cells they need the transfer of materials in and out of the cell. They transfer different materials like proteins and different materials which are being produced inside a cell, and even the cell also needs some materials from outside. So for this transfer of materials, there is a membrane, a thin membrane. Thin membrane is also called as selectively permeable membrane. So this selectively permeable membrane is called as plasma membrane. Why it is called as selectively permeable? Because it allows only selected materials to get inside the cell. It won't allow everything to get inside. There is a barrier, there is a security like thing surrounding the cell, which will not allow all the materials to come in, like the bacteria. uh, they will be they will not enter inside the cell easily, because this plasma membrane is made up of lipid bilayer. Okay, children. Now coming to cell wall. Plant cells have an additional covering. Additional covering in the sense they have two layers. One is cell wall and another one is cell membrane or plasma membrane. So animal cell lack this cell wall. Don't get confused. Now can you tell me what is the difference between plant cell and animal cell?
plant cells have a cell wall while animal cells don't.
Yes. And what do plant cells have? What do plants show? What is the difference? One more difference is there.
Plants have
ma'am,
chloroplast.
plant cells have cellulose, ma'am, which is flexible, tough, and rigid, ma'am. But
Yes.
animal cell don't have cellulose, ma'am.
Yes. And one more thing.
Ma'am, transportation
Ma'am,
is done
plant
animal
cells
cell, ma'am.
have plastids, ma'am.
Ma'am,
Yes.
plant cells have cell wall, ma'am,
Yes. Good.
but animal cells don't have.
Yes. Even they have plastids, they have chloroplasts, but animal cells do not have that. It lacks. Okay, good. Now coming to cytoplasm. What is cytoplasm? Can you tell me?
Cytoplasm is the
The
jelly
jelly-like structure.
structure present in the cell.
Yes, good. It's a jelly-like
Yeah.
material present inside the cell. Why it is jelly-like material? It can be very
Ma'am, is it
tough.
having a color? So that all the little organelles can travel, like
Yes,
move around.
they can
Ma'am,
move around the cell. Yes?
ma'am, is it having a color?
No, it's colorless.
Oh.
It's colorless. So all the organelles can move freely from one place to another because they need to transport the proteins and the genetic material from one place to another. So that's why this jelly-like fluid, the cytoplasm is like a jelly. Now coming to nucleus. Please mute yourself. Now coming to nucleus. Do you know anything about nucleus? What is nucleus?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Can you
ma'am.
tell me?
1 second, ma'am.
Anyone can tell me? Boys? Dhruv, Monish.
Controls all the activities of the
Let
cell.
Monish tell me. Monish.
Sir, ma'am, nucleus was discovered by Robert Brown in the year 1831, ma'am.
Okay, what it is also called as? What's its another name given? What it is called as?
Bound organelle.
No. Okay, it's bound organelle, but what is specifically called as? Like, what is mitochondria called as?
Room of the cell. Room
Power,
of the cell.
powerhouse of the cell.
Yes, mitochondria is called as powerhouse of the cell.
Ma'am, nucleus is
Jail.
called as control room of the cell, ma'am.
Yes, it is called as control room of the cell. Why it is called as control room?
Because it controls all the activities of cells, hence it is called the
Yes.
control room of the cell.
Okay, that's good. So, because it contains the genetic material, the nucleus contains the main major genetic material, which controls the complete cell, and even it contains the genetic material which is required for showing different characteristics of the particular organism, of the particular animal or the human being. Okay, so coming to mitochondria. Mitochondria is called as the powerhouse of the cell.
Miss,
Yes,
it says that the nucleus is considered to be as the brain of the cell. It doesn't say
yeah,
it's supposed to
it's
be.
called as the
the
brain of the cell because it controls everything. It even
Yeah.
is called as control room also.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so now coming to mitochondria, as we have, you all have told that it is called as the powerhouse of the cell because it generates the energy. What is the energy currency which is being generated inside the mitochondria? What is the energy currency which is being generated inside mitochondria?
Ribosomes.
No,
And chromosomes.
no. Chromosomes are produced and they are being present in nucleus. I'm talking about mitochondria. Yes, anyone from you?
Cytoplasma.
And
What,
DNA.
what is the energy currency which is being produced in mitochondria?
Cells, ma'am.
No, it's
DNA.
ATP. ATP is called as the energy currency which is being produced inside the mitochondria. ATP is nothing but adenosine triphosphate. You'll be learning it in your further in your higher classes. Okay, children, then we'll discuss about the prokaryotes and eukaryotes, which we have just skipped it. So, what are prokaryotes?
Ma'am, they don't have well-defined nucleus and nuclear membrane.
Yes, good. What are the examples for this? Blue-green algae and bacteria.
Bacteria and blue-green algae.
Yes. So this prokaryotes, they do not have a well-defined nucleus. The DNA will be scattered inside the cell. They are usually single cell and unicellular.
There is no nuclear membrane also, ma'am.
Yes, there is no nuclear membrane also. Now, what are eukaryotic cells then? Eukaryotic cells are,
Eukaryotic cells
Are more complex.
They
are
have
larger
yeah,
than
they're
prokaryotic cells, ma'am.
yes.
they are
Example?
large in size like amoeba and paramecium.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
And
And
even
this
plants also.
eukaryotic cell was
Plants also.
discovered by Robert Brown in
Yes.
1831.
Yes. Okay. That's good. Fine. And now discussing about the classification of organisms, children. Is it clear about unicellular organisms? They are made up of single cell. Is anything, I mean, you have any doubts in this? In
No, ma'am.
unicellular?
No, ma'am, we don't have.
Okay, then coming to classification of organisms. Organisms are classified into two types, unicellular and multicellular. So unicellular organisms are those which have been originated with only a single cell, like amoeba, paramecium, bacteria.
Euglena.
Yes, euglena. And multicellular organisms are those organisms which consist of many cells, like plant cells, plants and animals. Plants and animals have so many cells. They are made up of so many cells. They are not like unicellular organisms. They are not like amoeba, because amoeba is originated with only a single cell. We have so many cells, so that's why we are called as multicellular organisms. Even plants and animals also. So can you just read out the characteristics of multicellular organisms?
Okay, ma'am.
All multicellular organisms, including human beings, show division of labor in cells which is accomplished through different organelles that do different jobs for the cells. Do I read all of them?
In multicellular organisms, similar types of cells group together and become specialized to perform body functions. Next
Yes.
point, it means that different parts of multicellular organisms perform different functions. For example, human body has a stomach to digest food, a heart to pump blood, skeleton and muscles to perform movements, and so on. An organism with billions of cells begins life as a single cell, which is the fertilized egg. The fertilized egg cell multiples and the numbers of cells increase as development proceeds.
Yes, okay, that's fine. So in multicellular organisms, as we have already discussed, that they perform different types of functions based on their cell structure. And even these cells are being utilized for performing different functions. Depending on that, the human body has stomach to digest. In a similar way, there are so many parts inside our body which perform specific functions, and they are made up of special tissues and cells depending on their functions. So these cells, how there are so many billions and trillions of cells are there inside the body, but how they have been started? These billions of cells are being developed. They have been originated from a single cell. The life has begun with a single cell, which is a fertilized egg, which you can see in the page number 19, how the parent cell is being divided into two daughter cells. So division takes place. So significance of division. What is the significance? Why the division is needed? Division of cell is needed to increase the number of cells. Suppose if you have a wound, if you have been injured, if you have a wound, then what happens? After a few days, you will see that that wound have been cured. It's been covered, isn't it? So how it's possible? How your wound is being recovered? Because of new cells being generated in that area. So how this generation of new cells takes place? This because of this cell division. Cell divide and they try to cover up that open area where the wound was there. So again, you can find your skin is clear. There's no scar or there's no wound in that area. It's because of this cell division. Cells arise from other cells through the process of cell division. When cell division takes place during reproduction, the process is different again. During reproduction, the genetic material is transferred from parent cells to daughter cells. So this procedure is different again. You'll be reading about this in your higher classes. Meiosis and mitosis are the two processes which takes place in cell division. Meiosis is being given here for you in your book, in page number 19. Meiosis is a specialized form of cell division that produces reproductive cells such as plant and fungal spores and sperm and egg cells. So this meiosis is seen in reproductive cells. Don't get confused. Meiosis is seen. Meiosis is seen in reproductive cells. The cell division, meiosis is the kind of cell division, children. Meiosis and mitosis is the type of cell division, is the name given to the cell division which takes place during reproduction of certain things. Okay. Now, the last but not the least is the microscope. So you'll be finding the microscopes here. So through which type of microscope you can see the bacteria?
Compound
Electron
microscope.
Compound microscope. Okay, that's fine. And through which microscope you can see the virus, which is exceptional. You may or may not, because it's very minute, through electron microscope. So there are
Scanning
few
electron
microscopes.
microscope.
Yes, there are a few microscopes which are being mentioned here. Compound light microscope, stereoscopic microscope, transmission electron microscope, scanning electron microscope. So with the help of these microscopes, you can see different types of things very clearly. Okay, children. Now coming to unit 2. Do you have the books with you?
Ma'am, you have slides, no, ma'am?
Yeah, I have the slides, but if
We
you
have
have the
books
books
also,
with
ma'am.
you, then it will be helpful for you.
Yes, ma'am, we have books also.
Okay, so we'll go through this today, and tomorrow I'll just revise you unit 3. Okay, so classification of organisms. So what is the need for classification of organisms? Can anyone just tell me?
So that whenever we go to different countries have different names, ma'am, of the animals. So if we go to a different country, we don't know what to call that animal. So the scientists who have invented this classification of organism made the people
Made it easy to recognize.
yes, ma'am.
To identify the animal or human being.
Yes, to identify. So this classification of organisms is, what is the classification of organisms then? The arrangement of
Arranging of
organisms
organism into different groups on the basis of the
similarity
similarities
in their
in their
characteristics
characteristics.
is called as classification of living organisms. So some microscopic bacteria are a few. They are very minute, and there are so many things. Like at first, in the beginning, what the scientists have done, they have been classified so many things. They have been grouped so many things together, like water animals. But marine animals, even in them also, there are so many other differences. So depending on that, again, they have been introduced the classification. Depending on that, the classification of organism is being given. The taxonomy is being given by Carolus Linnaeus. So based on different characteristics of different animals, what the scientists have done is they have given different classification. Like Carolus Linnaeus, he was a Swedish botanist. He invented binomial nomenclature, the two-word naming system. We still use this today, classifying organisms. He is called as the father of taxonomy. Who is the father of taxonomy?
Carlos.
Linnaeus.
Linnaeus.
Yes.
Miss, I
So,
did not understand this point, which is in page 1. It says, indicates the evolutionary relationship by establishing gradually increasing complexity of forms and structures in different groups of
yes.
organisms.
So what happens in this is scientific grouping of have specific advantages. Why there's a lot of disturbance? Please mute yourself.
It's from Nidish, ma'am. Nidish, please mute yourself.
Okay, children. So here it indicates the evolutionary relationship by establishing gradually increasing complexity. Means the animals, they have increased the complexity in their form and structure in different groups of organisms. Like there was been an evolution. Like in previous days, how was the evolution has been taking place? Like the man, he doesn't know anything, isn't it? In early stages, in early age, he
Yes.
has gone through so much of changes, isn't it? In early years, we don't know how the means of transport was there, isn't it? So we have been done lots and lots of changes because of this technology, because we are improving ourselves. So there's an evolution in this. Even in the animals also, there's a gradual increase in complexity in form, and even there are so many changes. So depending on those changes, in this classification, animals are being arranged. So each animal and plant described has a specific name, and this name would be shared with any other, will not be shared, sorry, with any other organism. So that particular animal will be having a specific name. He devised a method for organizing all these named organisms into a series of groups based on the similarities and differences. We will think that, oh, these are all water animals. What are the difference between the water animals? But there are so many differences in them also. Depending on those differences and similarities, they are being placed. Suppose in animals, the kingdom may be same, phylum will be same, class will be same, but there is a change in the species name. Okay, there is a change in genus name and species name. So we'll go through it one by one. So firstly, we'll see what is Linnaean classification is. So the main feature of this type of classification is each animal and plant is described, as I have said just now, with a specific name. So the hierarchy of Linnaean system is defined as a sequence of categories in decreasing and increasing order from kingdom to species and vice versa. So firstly, we'll just see this one, the hierarchy of classification.
Ma'am, time is up, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Time is up. Still 1.5 minutes left.